Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing today? Good morning, John. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Sterling. Hope your hand continues to heal, Sterling. Good morning, Jacob. Sterling with some earnings in here. SC Limited, miss beat, miss on EPS, stock up 3.4. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning to Patrick and Rusty over on Rumble. Rusty and the people in the background on Rumble. But Rusty, chair shopping. Rusty looking for a new chair. So that's always a good thing to have a comfy chair when you're sitting in it a lot. What is going on, everyone? Cash bond market is closed today for Veterans Day. And thank you to all the service members for their serving. That didn't make sense. Oh well, it's going to be a long day. Good morning, OD Green. What do we have here? What do we have going on? So we had the ADP numbers come out. Everybody, since there's no government numbers, everybody's trading off of those, and drop in 11.25K. The dollar dropped with that, and the yields dropped. So that's where we sit right there. We got Barr speaking, I guess tonight. Very quiet day. Very quiet day. The Senate voted to reopen the government, so now it's off to the House. So we'll see about that. It's now a risk off today with SoftBank selling their stake in Nvidia. So why not just sell all the Mag 7 and buy consumer defensive? There you go. Risk off day. Here we go. Let's just refresh this. Basic materials. Gold hit the second target on the double. Consumer defensive. See, risk off. There we go. Technology and consumer cyclical down. Taking a little breather. Good morning, Heinrich. ZB daily double on closed market. Yeah, I don't like when the futures trade separate from the cash. But got to take if it's a valid signal. So far, we have the 67% of the rate cut still in December. Fear and greed bouncing into fear mode. Schiller PE back above 40, 30. Again, thank you for Sterling putting in. We didn't have much. I mean, some of these he put in C, but there's really not a lot. And after close, we got Beyond Meat. What else? I don't even know. OKLO. So tomorrow morning, Circle. There just isn't. There's companies reporting, but nothing that's really important. Yeah, righty. So the S&P closing above the 62.5 yesterday. That's that purple line here. Let me take this off real quick. The purple line right here. So that technically shifted the probabilities, even with pullbacks. We have the daily rotation zone where the bottom is at 6,800. Going into this morning, I'm paying attention to the 4-hour rotation zone. We've already pulled back to the 8 EMA. And there's another key area of support just below that. It's about 6,830. All right, if we did fall through the 4-hour rotation zone, I'm looking at 6,800 for a possible continuation bounce pattern since the probability shifted. Good morning, Anissa. The key line in the sand for me, if we filled Sunday night's gap, that's right in front of the 50%, but the key tipping point back down would be 67.34.75. So I'm just remembering 67.35. So we can pull back now. It would not be healthy if it started dropping below the 67.60 area because it would have filled the gap and a very key area of prior resistance becoming support. What's interesting, good morning, Rick. What's interesting is NASDAQ coming, let me take off the green line again, coming right to the 62.5, but no close above it. So the NASDAQ did not flip probabilities. All right, NASDAQ did not flip probabilities. The The key major line in the sand is 25,106, 25,107. The area I'm watching is a very flat 4-hour rotation zone, so I'm paying attention. If we do pull back, my key level of support is about 25,530, and then if we broke down below that, I'm watching about 25,400 area. So that's what I'm looking at in the NASDAQ, but it has not shifted the probabilities. It has not shifted. It's easy to the upside. Let me jump back to the S&P. Back to the S&P. I covered the same thing yesterday. The targets still 68, 79, 69, 16. In the NASDAQ to the upside, the first area it still has to get through is the 62.5, this 25,770 area, and then 25,976, and then 26,187. The Dow has not flipped the probabilities either. It still needs to close above 47,662. So this has not flipped the probabilities yet. Bottom of the rotation zone is about 47,196. If it does take out that 62.5, the targets the upside are 47,846, 48,030. Very, very key support in here is still back at this 47,100, 47,120. So what else? Russell, no flip yet in this. So the only one that's flipped is the S&P. Russell, I'm paying really close attention to Sunday's night's gap open price. 24.55. If we did break below that, I'd be looking at Sunday night's low, which is roughly Friday's high. Below that would be the gap fill. NASDAQ definitely, the NASDAQ and the Dow are the weakest. The strongest is the S&P. Again, so far this minor pullback doesn't do anything. Weird percent B with all these individual stocks rejecting resistance. What's this? I can't even read this morning. WKHS announced earnings this morning after a beat miss, is trading at 80 cents, up 2.63%. This is an example of what can happen to hot tech type stocks with no earnings. WKHS once traded at 10,740 in February 2021 after factoring in splits. That's interesting. The VIX, slightly up from yesterday's close, but the VIX is again dropping down pretty quickly after getting rejected from above 20. The DAX has not flipped its probabilities either. It's coming back to test the key support level, 24,020. The notes rallying off the weak unemployment data from ADP, and the cash bond market is closed today. The yields dropping, but I'm going to be watching to see if the support holds in the daily rotation zone. 30-year also dropping, potential double top in there. Crude breaking out above the channeling line, which I was looking for if it was going to go to the upside. Now my next target is 61 roughly. If we get through 61, it's really tight. This crude's really scalpy right now. It's about 61.30 and then 61.85. That's trading. It's crude is trading really tight though. Got to be. It's only intraday. Nothing with natty gas. Gold. Here you go. First target closed at yesterday. Second target hit so far today. If it plows through that, the next target 41.84. But I will be watching specifically. Let me get this line out of here for real quick. You see 42.12. A close above 42.12 shifts the probabilities for higher targets. So that's the next key level I'm watching. Silver. First target hit on the inverse head and shoulders yesterday, close to the second target today. By the way, I'm watching today 50.67 on a closing basis because that would trip the probabilities 4 to 75 and the 87.5. On silver. Natty Gas got a nice tail on the monthly. On the monthly. The last percent B buy on the monthly was back in August. And that's still running from there. And from a trailing perspective, it would so far, because of where it is now, the trailing stop on the monthly basis would be below November's low. What else do we have? We have the dollar dropping. The dollar dropping to the bottom of the rotation zone and very key support. Going to be paying attention to this again. Not triggering a percent B buy from yesterday, but we're potentially setting up for another one tomorrow. Euro going to be rallying. Is the potential double top still in play? No, it's not. So you don't have that reversal anymore. The spiders and the Qs. Again, if you're just looking at these, gap down from yesterday. So if the market does step back up to rally, it's 61.80, 681.44 for the gap fill. I will be watching again Monday's key open as the first level of major support. Should we drop, which is 677.24, and then I'd be looking at Monday's low for the next level of support, 675.03. If we roll over majorly this week, remember it's Friday's close for the gap fill. But this is just a minor gap down so far this morning. And on the spiders did close above the 62.5, shifting the probabilities in that. The Qs did close above their 62.5. So where the futures didn't, the Qs did. Gap down today. Key supports coming in at the Qs open from yesterday, 618.92, and then the Qs low, 616.89. Remember, there's still a gap filling that from to Friday. Bitcoin hitting the first target, remember, against the rotation zone, hitting the first target on the double and rotating back down. So I pay attention to these rotation zones on the ones that go against the rotation zones. So definitely a stop raised, if not aggressive profit taking there. Still has not been invalidated on the way back down. So that's where we sit there. NVIDIA gap down today with SoftBank saying they sold their stake in NVIDIA. Still is the gap left behind between Friday and Sunday, but pay attention to Monday's low, 193.79. Still trading above that going into the open. And by the way, NVIDIA's 62.5 was not closed above yesterday. Interesting enough. Interesting enough right there. Tesla, uh, pretty much first and second targets are hit on the double. But this is not been invalidated yet, even with this bounce. The invalidation point is still technically 450, 450. So this could easily roll over again. Can we take a look at BBAI? I saw something about that. Oh, this is old. This is old. Big Bear. Big Bear AI. Again, bouncing off the 200. That's been the key very area of support. Bouncing above there. They did have earnings. Again, negative EPS, but revenue did beat. So there you go. In the little bounce thing. Let me change this old color. Little bounce. The major area is 735 on a continued rally. That enters it into the topping zone, but to continue a rally, it has to get a close above 785. So if you're playing any bounces, I pay attention to 735 and 785. 12.4% of credit card balances in the United States are now over 90 days delinquent. That's not good. But everything's great. Everything's great. So that's all I have. I mean, there's still going to be watching, especially the S&P for higher prices. Going to be paying attention to where the Nasdaq closes today if it can bounce. Going to see if this can get up into potential double top territory again. But there's not much to do, and there aren't a lot of shorts for me unless we break down with momentum, and those would be to the gap fills from last Friday to Sunday night's open. That's about it. I won't take up anybody's time. You're welcome, Jacob. We need the government to reopen and get data back in. Today, again, as mentioned, is Veterans Day, so it's a federal holiday. But the markets are still open and trading except for the cash bond market. With that, I will see everyone back tomorrow. Folks that like to day trade should watch for shorter term double bottoms near Mike's levels. That is a true statement. That is a very true statement. And I also look for 4-hour percent B buys near the key levels. With that, I will talk to everyone later. Bye for now.